Hello, and welcome to the Court Video Jester. How are we? My work was somewhat curtailed yesterday by stone grinders in the middle of town. You couldn't hear a thing. I just closed the window so I could film. Couldn't hear a thing. So I went in the other room. Couldn't hear a thing. So I had to give it up and I went to see some monkeys. That was my day yesterday. How was your day? One of them bit the washer on my car and then promptly got out its wobbly danglers and showed them to everybody. If I can get the video, I'll show it to you. It'll become known as the Great Monkey Video. It was so funny. But that's enough about monkeying around. Let's talk about a different type of ape altogether, the human ape, shall we today? So, yeah. The human ape in the form of an organisation called Humanist UK. Now, some of you may be aware of this organisation. They've been around for quite some time. In fact, many years indeed. Unfortunately, they have lost the plot, and I thought what it showed us was an example of the type of thing that happens to organisations and has already happened to organisations such as the Fawcett Society, the National Trust, and it's worthwhile just perhaps thinking a little bit about what this indicates, and that's why I'm reading to you about it, and you can listen to it. So the humanists, let's hear from them first, okay, because it's important to know where these peeps stand, isn't it, really? So let's hear from them first on the ever fateful subject of gender identity ideology. Here's what they had to say. At Humanist UK, we want a tolerant world where rational thinking and kindness prevail. What? We want a tolerant world where black is white and white is black. Rational thinking and kindness, you can't have both. Right, because rational thinking will sometimes upset people and then they'll accuse you of not being kind because they see rational thinking as the opposite of kindness, i.e. cruelty. So, Humanist UK, in your first few words, I'm afraid you've failed miserably. C-, see me after. Right? We work to support lasting change for a better society. Not anymore, you don't. Championing ideas for the one life we have. Our work helps people be happier and more fulfilled. Right, okay. That's an interesting one. Happier and more fulfilled. Do you think those two goes together? I can eat 20 bars of Bounty. Dark chocolate, not milk, please. I could eat 20 bars of Bounty, or I could stuff my face with Stilton and port and smoke 5 cigars. I'd be happy. I'd be full. But would I be fulfilled? No. Because what fulfills me is this. What fulfills me is the joy of conversation, of debate, of lively discussion. We want people to, our work helps people be happier and more fulfilled. It's like some fantasy land, cuckoo stuff. And I always thought the humanists were fairly grounded, right? Fairly. We champion ideas for the one life we have. We want people to be happier and more fulfilled. By bringing non-religious people together, we help them develop their own views and an understanding of the world around them. Well, I'm not going to argue with that if that's what you're actually doing. Founded in 1896, we are trusted to promote humanism by over 110,000 members. 110,000 members, right. That's less than one a year. Since 1896, that's a bit worrying, isn't it? Is that right? Yeah, no, I'm kidding. But not one a year, is it? It's under a year. It's 2 a day. Get yourself a marketing specialist. Numbers of supporters, over 115 members of the all-party humanist group. Through our ceremonies, pastoral support, education services and campaigning work, we advance free thinking and freedom of choice so everyone can live in a fair and equal society. What do you think they mean by equal? Do they mean equality of opportunity, or do they mean equality of outcome? Well, I don't know what they mean by that. And this is what they've got to say about the latest shenanigans that are going on. Let's have a quick look. I'll put the link in the Dubras because it was Sex Matters who posted this. Thanks, Maya. And the crowd. There's lots of them now. It's not just Maya, it's all of them now. Right, so summary. The Gender Recognition Act 2004, in combination with the Equality Act 2010, currently defines someone's legal sex as being either the sex they were assigned at birth or the sex they've acquired through a gender recognition certificate under the GRA. Let me just say, hang on a second. We want a tolerant world where rational thinking and kindness prevail. Okay. I don't believe them, do you? No. No, I don't believe them at all. The 2010 Act permits different treatment between people whose legal sex has been acquired through a gender recognition certificate and people whose sex was assigned at birth, where such action is a proportionate means of achieving a legitimate aim. This covers single-sex and separate sex services, including refuges or changing facilities, sex-related genuine occupational requirements, and sex requirements in competitive sport. The government is considering changing the definition of sex in the Equality Act instead to mean biological sex, despite there being no such definition in UK law. Some would argue that it's intrinsically in UK law, because it's a fact. At Humanist UK, we want a tolerant world where rational thinking. No. The change is intended to create a de facto blanket ban on trans people from service they had previously enjoyed, without concern or complaint. Without concern. They've got absolutely crackers. Absolutely crackers. And they've come out with this guff, as you can imagine, and there's been a bit of a reaction from that, in that a number of people have resigned from the board in order to, I suppose, show their disdain at this. And they've lost at least 3, if not more, patrons, and that happened within the first 12 hours of release of that statement. And I thought this would be an interesting one for this particular time, because, as you are aware, we've also had a debate in Parliament that went on yesterday that I was watching with interest once I got back from being attacked by monkeys, which, with the exception, with a few honourable exceptions in the Houses of Parliament yesterday, was an absolute blight on our parliamentary system and an international disgrace in terms of it bringing us to the lowest possible level we could go. To imagine that this kind of debate is something that should be celebrated, I think is quite foolish. It was a completely unedifying spectacle. It was an unedifying spectacle. Not because these sorts of things should be discussed. Not because these sorts of things should be debated in Parliament. This is precisely where these sorts of things should be debated. But because, first and foremost, we didn't define terms before we began. I couldn't find it. Now, if I'm wrong about that, please do let me know. But I didn't see anybody define gender identity. I didn't see anybody define trans. You know, and we have people talking about the fact that they didn't understand their own genitals in Parliament, or the fact that they're a woman, therefore they have certain chromosomes. They do. I don't know what my chromosomes are. I've no idea about my genitals. What about yours? This is insanity. This is insanity. But it is indicative of where we've come to. And if we think about the humanist society, as a, if you like, a sort of microcosm of the wider society and a microcosm of Parliament, in that the same debates and the same conversations will be going on with them, but not under a legislative or a political arena. This is the game. You know, we think that when somebody leaves and the organisation loses those people, that that's something that they'll be unhappy about. It's not necessarily true. It's something they'll be happy about because this is what they do. Right? They parasitise the organisations upon which they prey, and then those organisations are destroyed from within. Get your head round it, okay? People taught in the workings of Paulo Freire at school and at college and at uni, who are taught from a book called The Pedagogy of Oppression, believe it or not, which is about teaching as if you are an oppressed individual. It's creating of activists. And that has been going on since the 60s. And we now have a situation where our country has an entire swath of educators. I'm not going to call them teachers. They think they're educators, who are simply working on the basis of Paulo Freire, the only thing they've ever been taught, and therefore, a thing they think that is a good. They believe they are doing good. And they are creating these people who are causing these problems in our society. But once those people get in, if they get people out who don't agree with them, they think that's a good thing because they are activists. They just don't know it. because they are blind to the reality of what's actually going on. Same goes for Parliament. It's time to clean the swamp, folks. And we need to recognise what we see. What are the categorisations? Because that's how they do it. That's the categorisations. What kind of thinking can we expect from these mad people? So I thought that although there were great people in the debate, some tremendous speeches in the debate from people of great repute, I thought that the entire exercise was completely edifying. And I thought that the fact that we did not even define our terms, because what we end up doing then is using terms, sex, sexuality, that we know what they mean, strong, fixed terms that have been completely eliminated and got rid of by this gender identity ideology and nonsense. And yet we're not able to say, come on, who are you talking about? Now, some people mention cross-dressers and fetishists and that ridiculous feeding of babies from the breasts of men. And people were shouting them down. It's like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? I thought, I'm sorry, loved the really good speeches. And of course, there was at least one hilarious one I've mentioned already about an inability to understand one's own fanny, right? That was hilarious, okay? But the whole thing's not funny. It's edifying, and it makes us look like fools on the international stage. Like absolute fools. And I'm ashamed of it. I'm ashamed today of our society, who simply fails to grasp a basic truth. There are men and women. That's it. We are not going to put a fiction into law again. We've done it once. We're not going to do it again. I say we repeal the GRA. They've got cover anyway. They're covered by the fact that they're a male who's not female, or female who's not male. They've got the cover. That's what the Equality Act does. The GRA only existed in the first place to stop gay marriage from becoming legal. Repeal the GRA. It's now the only way forward. That's unfortunately what I saw yesterday tells me it's the only way forward. Because otherwise this is just insane. And the entire country, half of it at least, who are watching that, well, there wouldn't be many with this Parliament, nobody watches, must, I'm sure, have had their head in their hands like so many did yesterday. Resist while you can, people. The humanist society is an example of the larger society in which we live. If these people are allowed into your organisation, it doesn't matter if you're Bill's Chip Shop or Tesco's, their eventual aim is the destruction of the host, because they are and will forever be a parasite. That's what critical social justice is. Parasitical. Not the people. They don't even know what they're doing half time. They genuinely don't, right? But the ideas are parasitical. They're dangerous. Let's mind the grievance. Let's find something to be unhappy about. Let's destroy the confidence of everybody within the organisation. It is parasitical. Die out of your organisation. And for God's sake, let's get this lunacy out of the law and make sure that the unedifying spectacle and ridiculousness of a parliamentary debate yesterday, which was practised well, but which looked dreadful, is something that we never have to see again. That's what I hope for. I'll see you later, people. Have a great day.